So big changes could soon be coming to how beer is bought and sold in Ontario. The province is expected to announce it will not be renewing the Master Framework Agreement. That's a 2015 set of regulations that limits how many grocery stores can sell beer. So joining us for a closer look at what this means for buying beer, this is important, is Josh Rubin. He's a business reporter with the Toronto Star. Welcome to your morning.
Thanks for having me.
So when should we expect an announcement?
My sources are telling me probably sometime in the next 3 weeks or so. They have to do it by the end of the year if they're not going to renew it, but should be in the next 2-3 weeks.
Well, let's look a little deeper at what losing this agreement could mean for beer stores.
Well, I think their market share has already been shrinking, and they've been selling a lot of their real estate. So I think that wide open competition would really hurt them, and I think they would keep on dwindling. I don't think they're going to disappear overnight, but I think that they'd really have a hard go of it.
The beer store has more than 400 locations right now across the province. So how many jobs would be jeopardized if this goes down?
If the entire thing just disappeared overnight, which I don't think is realistic, that's 7,000 jobs. And,
wow.
I don't think anybody should be cheering the disappearance of 7,000 unionized, reasonably well-paying jobs, at this point in our economy. But, I think the beer store's reason for existing was to kind of, to help the big breweries kind of sell their beer. And, now that it's going to be wide open, can a single product place survive?
Right. Yeah, less and less people are going there to get their beer when they're also going to other places. Overall, how does this affect consumers?
I think that that I've seen arguments for both sides on whether it'll make prices go up, prices go down. I think it depends on whether the province allows grocers to kind of add extra profit margin for themselves on these things. Like right now, the current grocery store operations, they had to bid on the license, and you had to. If you were more likely to get a license if you gave like a lower profit margin. So, if the government says, okay, profit margin is wide open, you can charge whatever you want, then we could see in some cases prices going up. But I think there's also an argument to be made that if the retailer is not owned by two of the biggest brewing companies on the planet, that some of the prices might go down.
Well, that would be good news for people. The beer store once dominated provincial sales, and we're going back a few decades. 70s and 80s, it sold 90% of the beer in the province. That market has continued to diminish. Yeah,
it's probably around 60% or just below or above 60% now, and that's and that started coming down even before the Master Framework Agreement. I think the LCBO made a big push to sell more beer. I think also craft breweries, which are popping up like toadstools, started, selling more beer out of their own, retail location. So, the beer store was already kind of seeing its market share diminish even before this MFA started. So,
is it a generational thing? Sort of, it had its own era, and that time has come to an end.
I think, I think there's a lot of older Gen Xers and Boomers who kind of, I don't want to say they feel nostalgic, but they kind of, there's like a little wistfulness. It's like, oh,
I
remember
the Blockbuster of beer.
Yeah, totally. It's seen its day, and I think the brewers never really invested tons in, the aesthetic of the stores. There were a few, kind of reno binges over a couple of years, but they weren't a modern retail experience. It was like a lot of them were kind of like, you go in the front, order something, and then this case comes rolling out, and it wasn't like, wandering around. It wasn't the experiential retail that a lot of, consultants and a lot of experts talk about. It was just, here's your product,
function.
There you go, boom, right? So.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Enjoy your weekend, Josh. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Good to talk beer.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.